be a bumpy night.
What's going on, guys? This is the Laugh Bunker podcast. My name is Josh Paul. Great to see you. It is August 27th in the afternoon, around 5. This is episode 13. We got 13 episodes under our belt now. This is going to be a number 13.
Lucky number.
A lucky number.
One of us will die tonight because of it, but hopefully, not that I would want it to be you, but I don't want it to be me. So anyway, So and today is my mother's 85th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Born in 1935, and some interesting facts of 1935. It's the first year that Social Security went into effect for 65 and older. It's the first year that men had deodorant, a deodorant stick.
Okay.
I mean, that must have been, maybe that's when the population started jumping up after that, probably.
That was a cruel world from...
This is when it gets cruel. It's the first year that toilet paper was advertised as not having splinters. I mean, and Wheaties, Breakfast of Champions, Wheaties first year, and I don't know if this has anything, but it said that did you have gerbils as a kid?
I had hamsters, yeah.
Okay, but you know what gerbils?
Yeah.
It said here, there's a stat that every gerbil in the United States descended from 20 Mongolian gerbils that were brought over here. Every single gerbil since 1935 is from these 20 Mongolian gerbils. I mean, that is just some...
Well, they also say that a good percentage of the world population can be descended back to Genghis Khan and all that, right?
To gerbils?
No, to Genghis Khan.
I met a dude at the hotel who could have been a gerbil. So that's why I was wondering that. But anyway, life's been good for you? Everything good?
For the most part, yes. What really matters and really counts, yes. Everything's good. I got the Zion trip this weekend, so I'm going to be heading up to Utah tomorrow morning.
Phenomenal.
That's what I got planned. Yeah. Today I purchased one of those. Met up with somebody who was selling one of the toddler carrier backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I got one of those just in case we're gonna do a little bit more walking, and so I got one of those. Picked one up for about $80. Very good condition. Good quality one. So I did a lot of research this week, and then those retail for over $130, $140. So this one especially. So got it for around $80. Personally used it once or twice.
Does it put the weight on your hip?
It has a pad or comfort pad to cover the lower back. You strap it around your waist. You also have regular backpack straps, and you connect it. So yeah.
Adjust from the waist up.
Okay.
In other words, keep everything before you put her in there. Keep it looser on top, but put all the weight on your hip. That way, it won't be in your back. Is it front or back?
Back.
Okay, well that's way better. The front, you'll be good. Yeah, that's nice, man.
I'll send you a picture of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Zion. I went there with my daughter and myself about a year. I don't know. Years ago now, maybe 3-4 years ago, I was blown away. Now, obviously, I've been all strung out on Yosemite. I talk about it every week, so I'm going to not talk about it this week, but it is awesome. And but Zion, when you pull up to that road, you're like, what's the big deal? You get in there, and I was pretty blown away, and having been blessed to see some great stuff.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to the Grand Canyon. I'm mostly a mountain guy or hiking guy. Uh-huh. But I was blown away, and I'm pretty. How's the temperature going to be, though?
Last we checked, it was probably going to be in the low 90s.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be around the high 80s, low 90s.
Well, at least you didn't go last week.
Yeah.
I'm sure last week it was thermonuclear.
Yeah, I'm sure it was pretty bad, but no, it's going to be manageable. It's going to be doable. Either way, even if it wasn't, we're going to bear through it. So
Oh, that sounds like a good time. I'm jealous. I've been hiking a lot. We've been hiking with Moses and training for our Mount Wilmington. We spent the weekend up on Mount Baldy again, doing a side peak, Cucamonga. It was killer. He's a good hiking partner, very intelligent, And really,
Yeah.
he listens to a lot of very intelligent podcasts, and we have different views on faith and God and different things, and it was just very fascinating. So we always have good conversations. So we got to the top of Cucamonga Peak, and there was Mormon missionaries up there.
Uh-huh.
So we had this. I had asked Moses a question about a scripture, and I just wondered what his feedback would be. So anyway, I ended up talking to this Mormon guy, and we had a big theological discussion. So then, as we're going to leave, they go, "Oh, hey, can we all get together and pray?" And so I'm thinking of Moses, right? And so Moses comes over, and in the Mormon faith, there's a lot to do with prophets. So we have Moses and Paul on top of the mountain praying with the Mormon guys. So we prayed, and then I followed up with a prayer. It was just kind of interesting. So half of them, I guess they were part of their 2-year missionary trip. They were all young men in their 20s, just really funny, very cool. It was very in the top of Cucamonga Peak, you're overlooking the Inland Empire, and it just stretches. It was gorgeous. It's about 9,000 feet, but so we were coming down, and there's a mine hole that you can go in. I would never go in no cave. There is no stinking way, because that's where everything bad is. So we're coming down, and the guy, one of the Mormon kids, says, 20-year-old guy says, "Hey, have you crawled in there?" I said, "Oh no, man, you can't go in there." And he goes, "Oh, it's against the law?" And I said, "Oh no, he lives in there." And the kid says, "The devil?" I said, "No, Michael Jackson." He went. They didn't know. It was just they didn't know what to do.
Michael Jackson?
Like I think that was even scarier for them than actually Satan, to be honest with you. So they decided not to go in there. But it was a good hike. We had a really nice time. Well, anyway, the guy wanted my email, the leader of the group, and so he emailed me today, and he's going to put me in touch with one of the 12 apostles. So things are looking up. My wife thought, why are you going to talk with him? I said, "Hey, I'm trying to get every in I can. I'm not messing. I mean, I'm on the border anyway, so if I got someone who's going to put a good word in for me up there, I got to use it. I'm not messing around."
Tell them I'm heading up to their homeland.
Yeah, because all the they're all after the prophets, all the hills, right? And apostles, so cool. Well, I'll text my friend that you're going there. We're not best friends yet, but anyway.
He doesn't know it yet.
No, not yet. So other than that, my mom training hard. I spent as much time with the Republican National Convention as I did with the Democratic Convention, which was 0. So that worked out well for me.
Same.
And I did put the jokes together for Kevin Nealon, so my wife sent them off, and he is going to hear them, so I will talk about how that goes. My friend, have you checked
out his YouTube series?
Is it the one where
the hiking one
with 2 guys and he has a guest?
No. This one he goes up hiking. He does a lot of hiking.
Yes, I saw that for the first time last night. I just saw it. He was hiking with Adam Sandler, who was the one that I was watching. He
takes various actors and comedians, and he'll take them because I guess he likes hiking, so he'll do like his old little steady cam kind of like.
No, I did watch it, and I do love his old Saturday Night Live character, Subliminal Man.
Yeah,
and his comedy is like, I love his delivery, and
his delivery is great. He's so good.
What he really wants to say at the end, kind of, throws in. But anyway, so he's on my friend's podcast. Not really my friend, more friend of my wife and daughter, Jason Seiler, Face the Truth podcast, and he's a phenomenal artist. I knew him in Chicago. We went to the same church. My wife taught his ex-wife, and him and my daughter communicate on art. So that's the level. And he did the Pope for Time Magazine.
Yeah.
So he's a phenomenal artist. And it's interesting. He was a good caricature. In fact, he came to my daughter's 9th or 10th birthday party and did caricatures of all the kids.
Oh, really? Wow.
And my daughter has it with his signature on it. deal. But he said that when he went to the Chicago Art Institute, and he went ahead and he started drawing the actual anatomy. And when he learned the tendons and how the bones worked and how everything moved, his art went from a cartoon to digital, if that made sense, 3D. And that's when and the truth is, the guy draws hours a day. And if you do that and you're talented and he's driven and his work is phenomenal, I'll put a couple of his pictures up on our Instagram this week so people can see it. So anyway, he's been going for about 100 episodes or something. And Kevin Nealon this week. It's his second time with Kevin Nealon.
Yeah, Kevin Nealon's great, and it's good. So it's not just his first time on the podcast.
Second.
He's been on there before. That's great. That's good. So he's got like a little rapport with him.
5 ago or whatever. So anyway, so we did that, and other than that, just life, eating good. You went to In-N-Out today. I called you, and you were having a vegan hamburger.
Yeah, I did. I do what you do what you can to like limit the calories. So it's still good. It's still enjoyable with the lettuce wrap.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this question. Did you have fries?
Yeah. So
so what you did is you substituted the bread with a fried potato because it's better for you because it grew in the ground.
Yeah.
Actually,
exactly.
Yeah. I used to work with this guy named Fred. And now Fred and we had some food adventures in Chicago. I mean, we would really eat. Like, I remember one time me and him split an extra large Giordano's, 4 slices of like 3-inch thick. Then we used to eat the White Castles. One time we had 18 apiece.
Well, I can see that. That's doable.
But he would get a Diet Coke. You see the point of that? Yeah. Well, I want that extra, 120 calories after I had 10,000.
Yeah. So sometimes I mix it up. Sometimes when I go, I get the full thing, full on, no limitations on my In-N-Out, and then other times I feel a little bit more like I'll tone it down a little bit. I got the iced tea instead of the,
I agree. Because as an example, so for myself, I cook, I bake, I make very good tasting food, and it's not always the best. So what I do is, if I'm going to eat carbs or something, or if I want cookies or candy, then for dinner, I'll just have protein. I'll use that sugar intake as my carbs. Now, that's not healthy. I'm not getting vitamins. I'm not getting the fiber. But I take a lot of vitamins, and by substituting, that's what I do. So if I want to go out and eat, and when we're hiking, I did like 35 miles of hiking and walking in 2 days. So in doing
that's a lot. Your intake has got to be. What you hear about Michael Phelps, who would like do laps and laps and laps and laps, and then his breakfast would be just stacks of pancakes and all this. Yeah.
You can't fuel when you're hiking.
Mm-hmm.
We're carrying a pack, and like we did, I don't know, we hiked for 7 or 8 hours straight. We don't stop. I mean, you're just burning the calories, and I think by eating, it's interesting. When I worked at the Westin, even though we had that phenomenal cafeteria, I would normally get salads, truth is, but I never sat down. I did it within 10, 15.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah.
And I always walked because
you did.
It turns my body into an engine.
Yeah.
So my body is always on that. And when you're hiking, now Moses, he does the keto hiking, so he's using his natural fat. So when we hike, he hasn't eaten since the day before, and he'll have pumpkin seeds, some nuts. I mean, very limited. And the amount that I take is, I'm eating peanut butter sandwiches on sprouted bread. I eat carried pizza. I like these Cliff bars made out of.
So you're having a feast while he's over there starving on pumpkin seeds, huh?
Like, you know what? After 2 hours, I start getting really nauseous.
Oh, okay.
Because my body is just burning stuff so quick that I get this real nauseous, and then I start sneezing. And I think when I had my last blood test, I have to go get a physical because I have new medical. I haven't had a physical in a long time. It's just really a bad thing, and I have to go get the monkey tail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I've never heard it put that way, but
no, that's because I'm not smart enough to pronounce the actual technical medical term. But my wife says,
alien probe.
Yeah, she goes, well, why haven't you had it this far? And I said, I'm afraid. And she goes, well, they drug you. I said, that's freaking me out even more. It's like I'm at Bill Cosby's house. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to be. And then I said, that is a joke. I said, well, I'm afraid I might like it. But anyway, so I'm going to do this whole thing, so I've cut out all alcohol. I had to make cookies for Jeff for our barter. But
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
No sugar. So for 30 days, and in 30 days we do this climb, and then the week after that, I'm going to go get my physical because I want real readings. At my age, if your readings are anything off, they're gonna put me on stupid medicine like statins and different things that I don't want to take because that leads to joint pain.
Yeah.
So I'm on the oatmeal. I mean, I'm like dialed in, and but the truth is, if I don't drink, I don't eat bad. If I have one beer, I'm at 7-Eleven buying 99-cent burritos by the armloads. And I wouldn't eat that.
You know, when I'm drinking, I don't get, I don't get the, I guess you would say the munchies. If you were to go the herbal route, then yeah, I gotta be careful when you're going the herbal route because then I'll just go raid the pantry. But I'm like,
well.
But the alcohol, I don't get like super hungry.
To me, it's the one, and it's the weirdest thing because it'll be like, oh, I'm going to get a piece of cheese, and then like 2 hours later, I've consumed literally the pantry, $200 or $300 worth of food.
That's funny.
And but otherwise, no, I stay pretty dialed in, and it's mainly because of that. But I do find a joke the Diet Coke. Now, do you drink soda?
No.
None at all, right?
No, the only fizzy kind of drinks I do are like the flavored waters. Sometimes I'll get like I forgot what the brands are, but you know which ones. The one that's 0 calories, no sugar. Maybe the sugar they have a stevia or something like that in them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just drink water. I drink massive coffee.
Yeah. I don't drink a lot of juice.
Juice is just pure sugar.
It's pure sugar. Yeah.
And I don't.
Water, coffee. Even my coffee, I use a 0 sugar coffee mate.
Oh no, you should never do that because there's no such thing as strong coffee, just weak men. That's what my grandma told me. Yeah, when I was 8 years old.
I don't mind like dark coffee, just straight regular dark coffee. I don't mind it. But
one of the ladies in Cafe Boulevard.
Yeah.
But really nice lady we used to work with there.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, when I was working at there, this is what I was consuming. I was getting up at 4. I was having strong coffee. Strong coffee. Then I was having an energy drink on the way into work. I'd get to work and have a cup of coffee. Then I would get 4 shots from Cafe Boulevard.
That doesn't give you a headache? Some days, if I don't know what it is, some mornings, a random morning, I'll have my cup of coffee and then I just start to get like a little bit of headache. Maybe it was too much caffeine, and I don't know what.
The hydration.
Hydration too, huh? Yeah.
No, I mean I read a long time ago. In fact, it's in Tom Brady's book. My mom got me a copy of it, TB12, and 2 things that he says I've done, and one was doubled my water intake. So when I get up in the morning, I have a bottle of water at the bed. So I'm drinking 12 ounces before I get up. I mean, well, obviously I'm sitting up or I would drown. But I mean, be so bad to drown that way. How embarrassing, Yeah, he drowned. Oh, was he a swimmer? Was it in the ocean? Was it on a boat? No, he was in bed drinking water. Well, he probably deserved to die. So anyway, so I drink the bottle first thing, and I find that I wake up faster. But this schedule, I don't ever wake up. I don't care if I sleep 8 or 9 hours. I don't wake up feeling rested, and I don't know why it is. I'm rested, but it's not till after I work out. Once I work out and the blood goes,
it gets you going.
You were eating the healthy burger with the fries, and I was working out. That's basically how that worked out today.
Yeah,
But anyway, so now I'm starting to come alive, and by 7 or 8 o'clock, I'm sure I go to work and everyone thinks I'm on cocaine. But anyway, I don't do the energy drinks anymore. I stopped them.
Uh-huh.
And no drinking, just mainly because of calories. And so, also, I read this thing, and Moses backed it up. They said when you drink alcohol, your liver goes into a process to remove that alcohol, and it ignores all the other processes that it normally does.
Mm.
And so, a person who's drinking heavily
Yeah.
is not getting the nutrition and different things, along with messing up your whole life.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
then
I do that too. I mean, well, I don't drink a lot, but I'll have a drink every other night. Most of the time, I do whiskey because I heard whiskey is like if you want to like maintain your weight or like not put on too many calories. Whiskey's probably the best alcohol.
I can use that with my wife. Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's what I heard.
Well,
I'll send you the
I'm
video.
telling
I'll
her
send you
this
the-
is
I'll send you
diet.
the
I'm dieting till
telling
afterwards. I'm at 7-Eleven, so that's when the
Yeah.
diet leaves. The whole
I'll
deal.
send you. I'll send you the video that has all that for your reference. So you
Yeah,
can be like,
good.
watch the video.
Good. So, anyway, other than that, truth is, with the hiking, I'm not spending a lot of time watching a lot of stuff. Things that I've been spending time on this week has been, Godfather 2. So, I have Spectrum. Spectrum has free movies, and AMC ran it all last weekend.
Yeah.
So, because we were talking gangsters, and I just normally sit in while I'm eating. Every time I eat, I turn on the TV and I'll watch 10, 15 minutes. So Godfather 2 was something I spent a lot of time on. We talked about it last week, your favorite of the Godfather movies. And then I spent some time with The Sixth Sense by M. Night Shyamalan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you see that at the theater?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay. And
I don't remember.
That came
I don't
out
remember
in
if I did or not.
99. So how old were you in 99? It's 11 years ago. Oh, well, you were old. You were in high school.
99?
99.
That was 21 years ago.
I don't do math.
It's a long time. What was that? I was probably 13.
Okay.
Thinking.
I went with a guy, and I always talk about him, Ron. He ran the tickets, remember, for the Bulls, and he loved movies, and we saw all kinds of movies. He's this tough black guy, and he saw Titanic 4 times because he wanted to cry. I said, don't tell people that. But anyway, he saw The Sixth Sense before me, and he went ahead and watched me jump because there's some big jumps. I thought it's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
And
it's creepy.
Did you get it that Bruce Willis was dead? I didn't get it to right at the end in the first time, but now that I look back on, you can actually see no one talks to him or different things.
Yeah, no, you have to really pay attention to how people interact with him because you notice that they're not.
Did you though pick that up when you were 13?
No, I don't think I did.
No, I was obviously 27 before you.
Not the first time around. No, especially not. No, imagine the second time around. I still didn't get it. no, the first time around. Yeah.
Well, I would understand that more.
Yeah.
I think his movies, they give him a lot of crap on the internet and on the live.
I think for his after his series of movies that he did that were really good. I think the last movie that maybe had people split on terms of how they thought if it was good or not. What I think was Lady in the Water. I think around after that.
That was Paul Giamatti, right?
Yeah.
He's like the maintenance guy.
Yeah, and then I think The Village, people were maybe split on that too.
Truth is, I figured it out, but I thought some of the performances in that movie, like I thought it was like watching. It reminded me of seeing the play The Crucible.
Yeah.
And it's making a statement outside, obviously, the play. But William Hurt is one of my favorite actors, and I really
a young Bryce
and
Dallas
Adrian
Howard.
Brody too, right?
Yeah, and a young
Adrian Brody plays the handicapped person. I thought it was phenomenal. I could not write that off.
No.
Signs is phenomenal.
Signs, yes.
I mean, The Sixth Sense, but I also my favorite, like we discussed, was Signs.
Mhm.
That worked with me where I was living. But it's interesting. He puts himself in all the movies.
Yeah, he does.
You know who else did that? Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
And I thought that
There's
was
a few
kind of
directors
weird.
here and there that
Yeah.
do that.
But
Todd Phillips.
Scorsese always puts his
Todd
mom
Phillips
in.
does that too. Like the comedic actor,
Yeah.
director Todd Phillips, he does it too. Like
You know what? I garner a lot of respect with that guy in his genre and the way he switched to dramatic lately.
with the Joker, yeah.
Yeah, I know we talk about it, and I'm not a Marvel guy, but I just did see the talk show scene with Robert De Niro.
Oh yeah.
And that Joaquin Phoenix, who's in Signs, the movie we were talking about.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. So with that, then of course I'm on to Narcos. I can't get enough of the Cali Cartel. And do you know who my favorite person is in there? There's two people. One is the dude Pepe Rapazote. He plays Chapo, the El Chepe, the guy from New York.
Yeah.
I love that guy. The scene where he shoots the guy, they're having the food.
Yeah.
And then I like the son of the Castro, Arturo Castro.
He's
the son of Don Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
He's a stand-up. He does comedy.
Oh, does he?
Yes, he's got a big special on Comedy Central.
Oh.
One of the one of the housemen, and looked just like him. At the West End, and I used to always say, "Hey, don't, is it cool? Are we cool?" I mean, but anyway.
Yeah, I've been watching that. I'm on the second season of Narcos Mexico again, so I just finished the first, and you know what? I noticed that Amato isn't as his role becomes more prevalent in the second season, not in the first.
Is it because when he takes over everything? Remember,
when Rafa and Nieto or Don Nieto are in jail, that's when I think Amato comes in and he's like his.
That's when he had
right-hand man, his friend,
right?
Yeah.
That's when it started overlapping with the Colombians.
Yeah, that's when it comes in. Yeah.
Of course, I love the actor, Wagner, who played Pablo. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I saw him in a trailer of a movie coming out, and he's got like a Connecticut accent, like East Coast or something. It was really weird. But so I've been spending time on Narcos again. I think the Cali is my favorite so far.
Yeah, I think that's an underrated, because a lot of people stopped watching after Escobar went away, and I'm like, no, I usually tell people you got to go back and watch the Cali Cartel.
Pacho, the guy who plays Pacho, everybody, and even I love Javier, the DEA guy. I think he's and I love the way they're playing it. I love how they're using Don Berno, the guy who took out Pablo, and then they got and I love how they brought back the revolutionaries.
Yeah.
The FARC. So anyway, I spent that, and then the last thing I spent time on was the Scarface, the 83 with Pacino, which will go on more when we talk about Brian De Palma. Yeah. But it's a great movie. Directed by Brian De Palma, screenplay by Oliver Stone. Yeah. It was put together by Pacino after he saw the original Scarface, the 1931 movie about Al Capone, starring Paul Mooney, which we discussed with last week.
Yeah.
The studios wanted to cut Pacino out and put De Niro in. De Niro said, "I'm done with the mob right now." And so it went that way. It was supposed to be Sidney Lumet. Mm-hmm. Anyway, great film. You've seen the film?
Oh, yeah, I love Scarface. Yeah.
They said it wasn't big at the box office.
Yeah.
But when it got the VHS and DVDs, they said it just cranked like 10 times the amount of money.
That happens to a lot of movies. My son's favorite movie is Willy Wonka, the original with Gene Wilder.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go back and look at all the details that surrounding that film, it was a flop at the box office. It was fully produced by Quaker Oats. It was then sold to Warner Brothers, I believe, Warner Brothers. I believe it was Warner Brothers or Paramount, one of them, for like $500,000, and then it started going on TV and syndication, and so that's when it attracted like a fan base, and then the studio that bought it for $500,000 ended up putting out merchandise and VHS and came out, and they basically made triple that money on like the 25th anniversary release, and then on top of on the remake, that which wasn't really that good, but made a ton of money too. So it took off, and Quaker Oats, I think, sold the rights to the candy bar to Nestle, and so they just got they got rid of it.
Okay, so I saw it at the theater.
Yeah,
it came out,
mm-hmm.
and I remember in the candy stores, the Willy Wonka chocolate bars got very popular, and they were introduced. And
bring it back every now and then. Uh-huh.
And the scene, though, remember on the boat when it goes crazy?
Yeah.
Like it's an acid trip?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I think that was one of the critiques problem, because it's this family fun movie. And really, he's kind of dark.
He's dark. And the way he messes with people, I watched that movie. It's on like every day at my house. But I really enjoy watching that movie because it's just, I love seeing like his performance and how he just messes with people, and his relationship with the dad, Veruca Salt's dad, the girl that was the spoiled one. His relationship, his back and forth with that dad.
The blueberry girl?
No, the other one. The other one. There's
the nasty blonde hair. One. Yes. The rich girl.
Her dad.
I want you to buy that.
Gene Wilder's like back and forth with the dad. Oh, it's so classic because there's like a great duo right there. I don't know. I love that. And there's like little things. There's little things like he I looked all the facts on the movie. So I think when they reveal the factory to the cast, that was the first time they saw it. So that's a real reaction. So the director and Gene Wilder made it a point to keep surprising.
Who directed that movie?
I forgot the name of the director. But it was made. I think the production was set in Germany, so that's why there's a lot of German influence there. You'll see it throughout the film, and then so they tried to make a lot of the reactions for the cast real, as authentic and real as possible. So when they showed them the factory, all the the color and everything like that, that was a real reaction that was caught on camera. I think the boat ride, when he starts to go a little crazy, that was a lot of their reactions were real reactions. A lot of their and especially when he started reciting his whole little poem thing that he was doing. Yeah.
They were all glad to get off the boat. That shot where it stops instantly and they go into the castle or whatever the place is. And then I haven't thought about that movie. I need to watch it again.
You got to watch it again.
Because it's a classic.
He was very involved too, Gene Wilder. His even to the height of his hat. He really was very specific about what he wanted the wardrobe to look like. In one of the final scenes with Charlie and Grandpa Joe,
in the elevator.
No, before in his office. So that whole scene was when they were rehearsing it. He was speaking to them in a very monotone level, like, like, oh, you stole the fizzy lifting drinks, you did this and this. But when they actually started filming, he went off on them, and so the reactions when they were really taken aback by his because Willy Wonka gets a little angry and gets very loud and it starts getting red. That was all real reactions because Gene Wilder wanted to surprise them with real reactions. So
that's some real Meisner, some reaction training there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Did you see the remake with Johnny Depp?
No, I think I saw it as a kid, but I didn't really. It was too.
It shouldn't have been remade because it's one of the great classics. I mean, Gene Wilder's eyes and his expressions.
Oh yeah,
he's very sarcastic in his look.
Very, very sarcastic.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I did watch the Johnny Depp one because of my daughter, and it was the age thing. I don't know if I'm ghosting from the other show, but even the way he almost looked like a molester, like the way he was, the hair, and it just seemed creeped out. I didn't like it.
What they did was, in the movie, in the original, they hinted at his weirdness and his awkwardness and his like craziness here and there, but for the most part, he seemed like just a quirky, kind of very sarcastic person. And I think the remake, they went all in on weird and zany,
kind of like when Johnny Depp did Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
It had this more darker edge. And I grew up with the show, and we were terrified, watching that as kids on black and white and TV. But anyway, not here to discuss those shows.
No. But give it a watch. Give it a watch and let me know.
I definitely need to. I just spent time with Young Frankenstein, with him, and it's a perfect.
Just his performance. I just love watching his performance. It doesn't get old.
You know what? He was young and yet looked old. If that makes sense.
Yeah. He died, 2014? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and his wife, Gilda Radner, died of cancer years ago.
Yeah.
One of the great women comedians.
Mm-hmm.
What else are you watching? Other than Narcos?
Narcos, The Firm. I watched The Firm with Tom Cruise.
Nice.
I watched
Love Gene Hackman. Anytime he's in there.
Yeah.
And I love Helen. Is it Helen? Not Helen Hunt. Holly Hunter. Remember, she's Gary Busey at the beginning, right? And she's under the desk. Yeah. I thought that she was. I've always loved her as an actress, by the way.
She's great.
If you haven't seen some of broadcast news and some of her great roles back in the 70s and 80s, phenomenal little actress.
Yeah.
Great. But The Firm's a good movie. I love it. Good choice. How much money has this Grisham guy made from books and movies? I mean, a lot of his movies were made. Yeah, books were made. So
my wife really enjoyed that book, and I think she says that's still probably his best.
How about Pelican Brief?
Yeah, that's a good one too.
That was with Julia Roberts, Denzel Washington.
That was a good movie. That was a big movie at the
time. They were together, and so Firm. What else?
Watched The Firm. What was the other thing I watched too? It was a sci-fi one. What did I watch? I just watched it the other day too. I forgot. It'll come to me. Only not that much. I haven't seen too much in the past couple of days. So.
No, I myself have been training and with work and.
Watchmen. I watched. Okay. I rewatched that movie again. Yeah.
You know what? I need to come watch it with you.
Yeah.
Because I would like to do it. I haven't seen it, but you highly recommended it. And I myself have, with the training, have not been watching tons. Would probably be spending maybe a little bit more in basketball.
Yeah.
At a different time in my life, or definitely getting ready for football, reading. But who knows what's happening?
I think if you watch the movie, if you ever get a chance to watch the movie, because it does provide some backstory for the series. And the series, I think I finished the series not that long ago, and it really plays off the movie really well. And so it gives you some context to what you're watching. But I think the series, a lot of the subject matter is really it's very prevalent to what's going on right now.
Oh, really? Well, then
race.
Okay, so
for sure.
I have. What's it on?
I believe it's a HBO produced.
Okay, but can I watch it on Amazon? Can I watch it on Hulu?
Uh-huh.
Amazon.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife was watching something on.
I don't know if it's free though. You might. Let's get.
Oh no, it's worth. I'll just watch it. If you say it's that good, it's worth paying.
But do you have HBO? I thought you had some of those, paid channels.
No, I think we have Amazon and Hulu and Netflix.
Oh, you don't have cable?
Epic and Epix. Yeah, we do have cable and Epix and Stars, I think. But I don't know if I have HBO.
Okay.
But truth is, I don't watch. I'm pretty much watching the same things every day. Yeah. So MMA, very popular. A lot of fights out there, obviously.
A lot of fights last weekend. I got fights this weekend that I may or may not catch, but we'll see what happens. But
okay.
Yeah.
And other than that, we'll go back to the famous picture that we showed last week.
Yeah.
That had Spielberg, Scorsese, Brian De Palma, George Lucas, and Francis Ford Coppola. Now, if you look at their input, now I did a little bit more research on this table, and really, I'm gonna cover a little bit of Brian De Palma today, even though truth is, a lot of his movies I love.
Yeah.
But the way he interacted, he gave Scorsese Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro was in his short film, and spelled his name Denero instead of didn't even have his name. So they've been all working together for years.
Yeah.
Now we'll cover De Palma in a minute. We just talked a little bit about Scarface.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say of this group, I'm going to quickly list my favorite movies of each of these people.
Okay.
Not saying they're the critically acclaimed. And I always used to ask people at work, and I have asked you and everybody, what's your favorite movie? And everybody goes, they never can answer. Well, obviously, I can't either. But if you stop when you're flicking TV, that's what I call a favorite movie. I always stop at The Godfather doing things. So, and I watched this last week. So with Spielberg, the movie I like the best is Close Encounters of a Third Kind, Jaws. Those two would be my favorite. I love Save Private Ryan, but I would have to say in the glory days, those two movies, and I think Jaws is probably number one.
Yeah.
I love the performance. It's one of the great horror movies, and it created the summer box buster. You know what I mean? It pretty much took everything. With Scorsese, I watched it for lunch today, a good part of it, Goodfellas. We talked about that last week.
Great.
I think, truth is, it's way better than The Departed for me.
Yeah.
I think we have The Sopranos because of it, because we're seeing the low level, and just the camaraderie of Liotta, Pesci, and De Niro, killer. Brian De Palma, I'm going to have to go with Scarface.
Yeah.
I like The Untouchables, but The Untouchables is kind of like a PG-rated Scarface.
Yeah.
And Scarface was rated X when it first came out, and then he had to edit the scenes because it was too graphic.
Well, I know they had the chainsaw scene was a big deal, right?
Oh, yeah. I saw that movie when I was in Bible college, very conservative Bible college, with my girlfriend. And we had some serious prayer afterwards. I mean, she came out of the theater and was like, she spent the whole time covered up. She was like, what are you, and I didn't want to tell her that used to be my life. But and then, of course, George Lucas. Okay, I got to go. I know his influence, and I'm not the big Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with American Graffiti because I really love that cut and slice of life from the 50s, and it looked great, and we're introduced to some great stars, Dreyfuss. Do we know Harrison Ford without American Graffiti? Probably not, who went right into Star Wars.
Yeah. And
then Raiders, even though, he gave Spielberg the idea when they were on beach after shooting one of them. They all hung out together. That's what I find so killer. But I have to, Raiders. I think that first Raiders of the Lost Ark, I saw that at the theater. I was on my way to my job as a busboy at Mr. Fables.
Yeah.
And I went and bought a chocolate bar because at that time I hadn't gotten into salts yet. I was still total sugar fiend. And from the opening scene, the chocolate bar melted in my pocket because I've never seen, from the rolling of the ball, it was just nonstop. And Harrison Ford was such a great matinee idol in those days. It was just a great movie. So those five, that's mine. So before we move into De Palma and some Lucas talk, give me your five for each of those people that you like. Not critical, your taste.
For De Palma, I would go with the same with Scarface.
Okay.
Spielberg, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Lucas, I'm a big Star Wars guy. I always have. So pick any of the ones. If you want to go with the one he actually directed of the originals, you got A New Hope, the first one.
Yeah.
Because he didn't direct the other two. He just
he directed the first three though.
The first A New Hope. He only directed.
I mean the ones I saw in my era.
No, he only directed the first one.
Oh really?
Yeah. The second one was done by, I think, Kirshner, and then the third was a commercial director. I forgot his name. But he was hands-on. He was there for every piece.
Well, I know that when I went to film school, he was Lucas is not very giving of copyright.
No, he was hands-on.
You could use nothing. No, even for student films.
And his influence on those movies, especially in the action figure toy line.
Where he made all his money, I'm sure.
That's where he made all his money, and I think he really made his money. There's a good documentary on it. It's on Netflix. It's called The Toys That Made Us. The first episode of Star Wars and I suggest you watch it. It's they go through a lot of different lines of popular lines for toys and gives you a whole backstory. But the first one was Star Wars, and they go Hasbro. I think was it Hasbro? I think who owned it or Playmates. One of them owned it first, and then they went to Kenner, who ended up
What about Mattel? No.
Mattel. No, I don't think it was Mattel. I think
Okay.
Kenner ended up being the main distributor for it, and then but yeah, he revolutionized the toy industry, and then you go with special effects with ILM and Industrial Light and Magic, and even video games with LucasArts video
You know
games.
what's interesting is that so my brother-in-law, one of my brother-in-laws,
Yeah.
used to work at Lawrence Livermore Labs. And they were cutting films, and Lucas was coming there, and Lawrence Livermore being up north,
Yeah.
and was taking people and using them in that using computer people for that light company
Yeah.
and using it to grow that up. And remember, we talked about who moved in next to him last week? Fincher. As a
Fincher.
kid,
Yeah.
grew,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, how did I get in the movies? And
His roommate, I think his first roommate, one of his roommates was director of Grease. Was one of his roommates?
really?
Yeah. And
Well,
helped
you know,
introduce him
his
to, like Carrie Fisher and all
Lucas's
that. Yeah.
first, you know, his film, his graduate work from UCLA. I forget the name of it.
The THX.
Yeah,
THX.
it had Robert
like
Duvall
sci-fi.
in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love how all these guys are so connected. The actors. I mean, look at
And well, when he was at USC, his mentor and his mentor there is the one who directed Empire Strikes Back, the second one.
oh really?
Yeah. So, yeah.
I see. I did not know that, so that's great
Yeah.
word to me. I mean, Lucas, you could go on forever about him, and I love that. And he co-wrote. He wrote the script for Raiders too, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. So
most of his credits are not director credits; it's producer and writer credits. I mean, he's worked on a ton of films and even more recent films like Red Tail and a bunch of other stuff. A little stuff here and there that you wouldn't have really associated with him. Not just Star Wars, but he's has a lot more producer and writer credits.
Well, you know what? We need to probably spend a little bit more time on. We could do 5 shows on Lucas.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
he's got.
And he doesn't own Star Wars anymore. He doesn't. That's not. Disney owns it now as a primary owner, but he still has a lot of influence in it. And he's working on. He's part of the staff in terms of writers, and he's still.
Well, not only that. I mean,
he still has a lot of say and a lot of influence in it, and he's still working on all their future projects. But he's I think he's always still credited in it, and he sold it for like $4 billion. I don't know what he sold it for. Yeah,
that's chump change.
yeah.
I mean, what can you do with $4 billion in today's world?
He
really.
sold it for something around that ballpark, and then and you look at what Disneyland's doing, what Disney's doing with it, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never, I saw them in high school, but it was at an era where I started moving, people were partying. It was just the rock and roll, and just different movies were bigger to us. And I do like the first 3. I love a lot of the tension. I mean, obviously the tension with Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher in the first couple. You don't know, are they related? What's going on with Mark Hamill? Solid films, and would you put it as one of the top franchises ever? Movie franchises?
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's still relevant. Still relevant 30-something.
And they're making another Raiders. So what does that tell you from the 80s?
They're making more Star Wars too.
So, yeah. So
Raiders.
The guy he's just an influence, 100%.
And in terms of film and technology, with the camera work. Remember I was telling you, I think the last time I told you a story where the cameras he used on the second trilogy for Star Wars were all new and revolutionary. So he brought in a lot of his, the same filmmakers that we were at this table, and then other ones like Quentin Tarantino and all to come in, Robert Rodriguez to come in and take a look at the new camera work that ILM was, had a big part in producing and making. And I think Robert Rodriguez used those same cameras that Lucas used on the Star Wars trilogy and tested them out in the Star Wars trilogy. He used them in his film Sin City.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That green screen, high def, HD camera work that was like new at the time. And then little facts about George Lucas. So real quick. attempted to go into the Air Force. Filmmaking was not his love at first, but he had too many. He had a speeding ticket records, and he had a really bad driving record, and a lot of speeding tickets under his name, and they wouldn't allow him in. So that was.
I wonder if that character in American Graffiti, remember the speed
Yeah.
racer on the street, was him growing up. But now that you're saying that, interesting.
He was a camera operator on the Rolling Stones' "Give Me Shelter" video. His dog Indiana was obviously the name for Indiana Jones and was the influence for Chewbacca in the series. Star Wars obviously had a hard time getting Star Wars done in terms of sold. I think he based partially the personality of Han Solo on Francis Ford Coppola. And
really?
So, yeah, he's and
interesting. When he was at school, was he a film all the way, or did he start in theater and move to film? Because a lot of these guys like Coppola, De Palma, they all did theater, and Coppola went that way. Was he just strict film?
I think it's strict film. Yeah. He did actually sell Star Wars for $4 billion, and his net worth is roughly around $6 billion. And he's.
I bet you he has a hell of a selection of toilet paper during the summer.
Yeah, and you were saying I didn't know that he has that restaurant.
Yes.
And you have also the Lucas campus, the film a campus up there, and it's I knew some people that were attempting to try to get a job there at Lucasfilm. So
really,
it's a big.
I mean, it's it. In that world, it's pretty much Star Wars is the head of the top.
And he had a lot of influence in. I may be wrong about this, or no, that was Steve Jobs. No, I think he had some influence in terms of Pixar.
No,
technology on Pixar.
Well,
was it
Steve Jobs?
It was Steve Jobs, right?
Well, not technologically. Now I don't know that story, but I know that Steve Jobs got fired from Apple when they brought in the CEO from Pepsi. They voted against him. He went to Pixar after that, and he did build that company up. Some of the greatest films were made during that time. Yeah. And then he went back to Apple when the iPhone and everything started picking up. So, that Pixar, is right up there. I mean, that's the people that, they're just the name. When you say animation and films, people are going to go with Pixar.
I know he had some. I gotta take a look at this. George Lucas, Oh yeah, Lucasfilm was the parent company of Pixar.
Oh really?
Animation.
Okay, well there you go. So then, how weird! Steve Jobs was working for George Lucas.
Yeah. And then they sold it to Disney. Yeah. So
it's interesting how that these companies buy up everything in the corporate role of conglomeration. It's interesting. So with Brian De Palma, just a couple quick little notes. He went to Columbia as a physics major. Had to take a film class. Fell in love with Alfred Hitchcock Vertigo.
Yeah.
Transferred to Sarah Lawrence when it first became co-ed, because it was an all-girls school, and then studied theater.
Good timing.
And then got his master's in got theater, and then just went out from there. Alfred Hitchcock and Jean-Luc Godard, the French director, known for The French Wave, Breathless. A lot of his movies, like I said, Scarface was one of my favorites. I really enjoyed. But if I was going to rank, his first movie, Carrie.
Oh, I think you asked me favorite films, and I don't think I got to Coppola yet, right?
Okay, yeah.
Aside from Godfather, Bram Stoker.
Oh, the Dracula, the original, from the original text.
Yeah,
that's with Winona Ryder, Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. That's one of my favorites.
Is Keanu Reeves in that too, right?
Young Keanu Reeves in there. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I love watching that movie. Outside of Godfather and stuff like that.
I saw it at the theater. And like I said, another movie I really liked of Coppola, if we were going to say that, was The Outsiders. That had all those stars, Matt Dillon, Tom Cruise. Because we read a lot of S.E. Hinton books in high school. These were required. There was another one too, Outside Rumblefish. Is it?
Yeah, Rumblefish. I heard. Yeah.
That is another one that was. I think that had Ralph Lamacchio in it.
Yeah.
from the Karate Kid guy.
I've never seen it, but I know the film. Yeah.
So other than that, Scorsese, all these people work together. So he's been. A lot of people look down on his work because it's sexual. A lot of women getting slaughtered, different things. But then Carrie, with Sissy Spacek, John Travolta, that's Stephen King's first novel to get into the movies.
Yeah.
Pretty much set him up. He did Dress to Kill with Michael Caine, Angie Dickinson, Blowout again with Travolta. But then really the movie that my favorite of his would be the Scarface. Now, I like The Untouchables, which follows Capone, Robert De Niro, Sean Connery, Kevin Costner. Was filmed in Chicago, but Scarface was just revolutionary. As a kid, we always went on vacation down to Miami. Yeah. But as it got a little dicier in the 70s and as Pablo's influence was growing, then my parents started moving up to Fort Lauderdale and then up to Pompano as the influence came through. It's funny. They said that in the 80s, when the whole country was in recession, you couldn't buy a Mercedes-Benz in Miami. You had to be on a wait list to get a Mercedes-Benz in Miami during the worst inflation in America. Yeah. So that pretty much says that. But all these guys, it's funny, Steven, you remember Scarface? And his buddy who comes with him, Stephen Bauer. Yeah. He plays the drug king in Breaking Bad.
Does he? Okay.
That's him, yeah. He's put on a little bit of weight, but he's the one that's poisoned by... I can't think of his name, the chicken dude. Mike works for him. They make drugs for him. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I know. I never can remember when I need to, but
he's in Scarface so great, especially with Michelle Pfeiffer. I think she's one of my favorites of the film. Like her scene when she's introduced, when she's coming down the elevator, and then
after the famous chainsaw scene, they're turning the money. And the bad guy who played, I can't think of his name right now, the guy who set him up. And they hang him from the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
He's great. I love
great character actor. Yeah.
He has a great, just tough face. It's a great movie. Say hello to my little kid. And I liked it. I would have to say,
all the gangster films, they all end the same. All the story ends the same in terms of, fast rise and.
Well, what I'm interested with Pacino. They say he's 5'7". If they say he's 5'7", he's not 5'7".
He's probably like 5'5".
He's a little guy. Yeah. Phenomenal actor. Not taking anything from him. He's from. But think about he's in Godfathers. He's in Scarface, Donnie Brasco,
Heat,
Irishman. You know what I mean? He's like he's playing but in there but he plays a lot of gangsters and a lot of little tough guys, like James Cagney did. James Cagney, I guess, was short too, but he's been
look at Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci's made a career with gangster films.
I liked about The Irishman was that he wasn't Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
and there was something about, and to me, it was even more powerful than him screaming and yelling. It's when people contain that, it's very frightening.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd have to say in The Irishman, that was my favorite character was him. To be honest with you, of all of them, I just liked that it was different.
Yeah. My only critique of that film is I wish for the flashback scenes, instead of using weird CGI, I would have just been okay with actors that kind of look like them. Like you didn't need to.
That was a discussion at work last night. In fact, it was interesting because I saw it on a different TV, and I have the 4K high def.
Yeah.
There's certain times where the light's not right.
Yeah.
It doesn't mesh. You got to say something about James Cameron. Just going back, man. You watch some of his old stuff. Like that Terminator 2. They did all that CGI, but it still works on my TV.
It still holds up.
It still works. That's the field. It really. I know we haven't given Brian De Palma his glory today, but he hasn't earned it.
No, you could, but you can tell if anybody's watching or listening. Go on Netflix. There's a great documentary.
It is
about Brian De Palma, and it's worth watching.
It's very worth watching, and his interaction and the sub stories you'll hear in that we didn't mention today. But I mean, he came up with some great films, and I love that his first little short film had Robert De Niro in it, which is spectacular, and just the way things work. And I love
the way these guys, even all these guys, their influence on with their movies and outside of their movies. I think people like especially like with Lucas, where people just associate him with the Star Wars. But when you look at not just the films, but everything surrounding it and his work, it's just, I mean, he's revolutionized, I think, the film industry in terms of its technology and moving it forward into different leaps and bounds. I think it's and everything from toys to everything. So Lucas has always been a big fan of his work outside of the films too. Spielberg,
well, he's a massive influence, and
Spielberg, same thing.
I mean,
all these guys have.
Have you seen Close Encounters of a Third Kind lately?
Yeah. Not lately.
It's amazing. It totally works on my TV, which is amazing for old things filmed. And one last note here on De Palma's The Untouchables. Mm-hmm. So The Untouchables is about Capone and the IRS and how they caught him in Chicago, and the group run by Kevin Costner and Sean Connery. And so Ebert loved De Palma when all the other critics were going after him, but he wasn't the biggest fan of The Untouchables. And I liked the movie. It was written by David Mamet, the famous playwright. David Mamet won the Pulitzer for Glengarry Glen Ross. He was born in Chicago. He's known for his dialogue. And the original director was supposed to be Sidney Lumet also. Yeah. So Sidney Lumet did The Verdict, which Paul Newman won his Oscar with as a drunk lawyer taking on corporate America. Yeah. And David Mamet wrote that screenplay also, which I didn't know. Nice. And being from Chicago theater, and also they worked with Joe Mantegna and Michael Rooker at Organic Theater also. So in props of my wife, we have to always throw in the theater. And other than that, have you seen the movie Glengarry Glen Ross?
I have. Not for a long time, though. I haven't gone back.
The opening monologue by Alec Baldwin, which is not in the original play, about having a pair of, first place is the car, last place is you lose your job. But look at the actors in that. Baldwin, Spacey, Jack Lemmon.
There's a movie that's kind of related, it's similar to it, and it's more recent, though. Boiler Room. Did you ever watch that movie?
Boiler Room with
Giovanni Ribisi.
Ben Affleck does. It's kind of a copy because he comes in and does the big monologue at the beginning. Correct?
Yes.
I did see it. That's from what, the 90s, early 2000s, something like that.
Early 2000s. Probably like 2000, 2001. No, 2000. I think it's around 2000. That's a great. That's a fun film. It had a young Vin Diesel. Right.
Yep, I remember that too.
It's just, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Not that I enjoyed it more than Glengarry Glen Ross, or Wall Street, but like it had a very different feel to it.
The Chinese restaurant in Glengarry Glen Ross, they all go across the street. Yeah. That was literally around kind of about 2.5 blocks from my house in Chicago before I moved to this other place. And right underneath the L train right there. So every time we see that, it's like I walk that street for years. So, and there's something to be said about Chicago.
Yeah.
It's a different feel, and Mamet brings
architecture.
The big, and he brings kind of Sandberg said it was the city of big shoulders, of trades and different things. And his writing is very masculine, so it's good stuff. And anyway, it's been a good week. And we could just spend a lifetime on these. And any of these guys, there is another person who's connected to De Palma is Ridley Scott.
Oh.
And so when you think of one of the great directors, his movies, groundbreaking movies.
Groundbreaking.
So
And he still comes out with good ones here and there, like even like his Aliens franchise, like Prometheus and all them. I think they're really different. I mean, I don't know. He always takes like different angles on it. His action movies, his political action movies.
I thought
are great.
Black Hawk Down was phenomenal.
Body of Lies with Leonardo DiCaprio and Russell Crowe. I love that movie. Yeah, he does some good ones right there.
I saw a picture of Russell Crowe. I think he's going to explode.
Oh yeah.
He was describing. It was some video series where actors are describing their favorite roles, and I mean, like, I think he's at that point in his. You know what's funny? I just saw Gladiator, and I'm like, dude, you would have lost the fight. There's no one backing you up, man. The Coliseum would have caved in if you would have walked on the ground. So it was good for him, man. Because you mentioned
good for him. That's all we could say. Good for him. Yeah.
Good for him.
Good on the.
I want the best for him. Of course, why not? I mean, he's done. I mean, he's done some phenomenal work.
Yeah.
That I think L.A. Confidential by Curtis Hanson, who was also part of this group.
That's a great movie.
I think it's one of the great mob movies in a way.
Yeah.
I just love the influence, and even the guy who has the women cut like movie stars, and I can't think of his name. Paget was the name of the card, but the actor, he always plays these character roles, but he's solid. When they have that conversation out by the garage, it's just just stinking so right there. Everything is said unless you're not paying attention. Great acting. It's a great film. I dig it. Anyway, Russell Crowe's good. That movie Cinderella Man that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Every time that's on, I stop.
Oh yeah.
I think he's one of the great actors. And really, truth is, we should talk about him someday because he's been in some phenomenal movies.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, no, let's do it.
He's a good dude. Well, listen, man, I don't mean to bum you out, but okay, here's one last note. I wrote this down. David Mamet of Chicago. Guess where his first job was?
Where?
He was the bus boy at Second City. I think if you're going to learn some dialogue pretty quick, that's probably where you're going to hear it. So, and think about the people who came through there.
Yeah.
You know who came through there? Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers. I mean, so when you go all the way, Mike Nichols, the Oscar-winning director, and his wife came through there too. Yeah. So, anyway, on that note, man, good to see you.
Good to see you
Have
too.
a good week, and we'll talk next week soon.
Okay, I'll recap my trip, and then we'll come up with something good on the next episode.
We'll get some pictures up there. I'm interested because if it turns out that you do have a shuttle, then I think in October my wife and I might buzz over there.
As far as I know, it's up and running, so I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen to everybody. Thank you for listening. Look at our blog and our Instagram page to see what we talked about in movies that we suggest. We only suggest movies we like. We're not saying they're great movies, but they mean something to us.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Thank you for everybody watching and listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, man.
All right.